Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a un episodio más de Transformación Integral, el podcast donde la conciencia en acción se convierte en sistema para la evolución integral del ser. Aquí, la información se vuelve comprensión, la comprensión se vuelve decisión consciente y la decisión sostenida en el tiempo se vuelve sabiduría, actos coherentes, vínculos sanos y una mente en calma.
Today, we are exploring the intersection between clarity, better thinking, and the way we build and use technology to real direction. Because there's a big difference between using powerful tools and using them with a clear inner compass. I'm really glad to be joined by Shanese Houston, founder of AI University and ShotScript, who helps entrepreneurs build AI-powered business infrastructure in a practical and intelligent way. So, Shanese, welcome to Transformación Integral. It's really glad to have you here. Um, Before we dive in, let everyone know where they can find you. You follow your work, and then I love for you introduce yourself in your own words, your journey. What did you do? What led you into the AI space in the first place?
Okay. Hello again. Thank you for having me. I'm Shanese Houston. Again, the founder of ShotScript Studio Pro and the creator of AI University. So I spend my time, helping entrepreneurs, move beyond using AI as a chatbot and start building real AI systems, that help them grow their businesses, right? So basically, you can find me. I'm all on social media. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Threads, and YouTube. So what reason why I got into AI was, I didn't come from a traditional background. Actually, my background was really like working sales, working warehouses, a regular traditional job. So first thing I learned was AI was introduced to us, right? So I'm like, let me learn AI. So it was like then I realized, AI wasn't just another tool. It was a new way of thinking and building. So, that curiosity turned into like an obsession, with understanding, how AI actually works. And eventually, started me getting to building my own products myself. And that's how AI University and that's how ShopScript came about. I noticed people were just just using prompts, right? They were just creating images or, creating videos for fun, but they wasn't learning how to really use AI and benefit from it. Like, what I'm saying? Like make AI into a business, right? And that's where they wasn't learning how to actually use AI into systems. They only could generate content, but they wasn't building, like I said, businesses with AI. So I created again AI University, to close that gap and to teach people, how to think like AI builders, instead of AI users.
Oh, sounds great. Sounds great. Yes. Are there, for example, many tools currently with AI and power? So something people, I think the people is more confused about that. For example, what kind for that do you think is the most confusion? For example, what inspired you to create an AI university for that work?
Well, what inspired me again, like I said earlier, to create iUniversity
Yeah.
was that I noticed that people were just learning prompts, right? They wasn't learning systems. They could generate content, right? But they couldn't build businesses with AI. I created AI University to close that gap. I wanted to teach people to think like AI builders, what I mean, generate income with AI. Let's use AI intentionally, instead of just using AI for fun. So that's what inspired me.
Wow, sounds good. So, other question, what kind of transformation are you hoping to create for the people you teach?
Okay, so like my experience that I want them to, the transformation I want them to experience is not simply just to teach AI, I wanted to help people become more valuable. I want entrepreneurs to lead knowing how to design systems that save time, make better decisions, and create opportunities that wasn't possible before.
Oh, sounds good, sounds good. For example, AI has tools that expand human capability. For example, you have, for example, the models, ChatGPT, Cloud Code, and for example, Gemini, and also the models for Chinese, Kaimi, and also DeepSeek. For example, the agentic, for example, the is very also good work with something human or tools, AI or models, agentic that I mentioned. So, do you think what is most common that you use for your work that depends from your, for example, your decisions about you think is more wise for your work and your help with that?
Okay, so tools, so basically tools that expand the human capability, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so how I view it is like AI strengthens people instead of replacing them. That's everybody's biggest fear, right? AI doesn't replace exceptional people. It amplifies them, right? So if you're organized, AI is going to amplify your organization. If you're lazy, AI is going to amplify it. It just helps you move faster, right? It just gives you a faster pace to get to where you already are, right? So if you're a strong leader, it helps you scale your thinking. AI magnifies what's already there, so human, human abilities matter even more now, right? So all I'm saying is that AI amplifies anything that you put into it.
Okay.
So
Good.
yeah.
Yeah. Tell me. Yeah. Continue.
So if you know what I'm saying something, so I feel like human abilities matter, like even more now, right? Like judgment, like creativity, emotional intelligence, leadership, and curiosity. AI, can't generate information, but it can't replace wisdom. So it generates information, right? But it can't replace wisdom. That's why if you see like, at the bottom of ChatGPT or Gemini, it says like, to double check your work, because sometimes, ChatGPT can be off, or, it can be wrong. So that's where, our human side steps up even more, because we can't just take everything, that AI spits out to us. So that's where, the human abilities matter the most. Still, even though AI is around.
Okay. Well, also, one thing you appreciate about your perspective, but I think is, for example, something people think the AI replace your work. You mentioned about the capability is more useful where they expand human capability. My question is, for example, what, what do you think the people still understand the most about right now?
I think like the misconception that people are still on is AI is about getting answers, right? It's actually about asking better questions. The quality of your thinking determines the quality of what AI gives back, right? So if you're, working with ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or whichever AI tool out there you work with, and you don't know how to prompt, right? Because you have to be a prompt engineer, right? It's all about prompting to get the results you want. So if you don't think on a higher level, then you're not going to get a higher level output of produce from ChatGPT or from Claude or whatever AI tool you use. So I think that's the problem. People don't understand that whatever you feed ChatGPT or the AI tools is what you get back. So the higher the quality you feed, the higher the quality you give back. You get that.
Yeah, sounds good, sounds good. Well, I think for that part, for example, the human capacity is become even more important in AI. the people, currently in the social media, it's very common read about what is the most important, how do you use the AI. But I think you need to have the knowledge before to use that. So because it's very important, the whys, because something people learn about with that human capabilities, maybe because you answer, for example, in the model, and the answer is good, but if you don't have any, for example, you discern, you maybe was wrong with that, because something the model AI have something hallucination. Do you have any experience about that you maybe believe all the model AI, because something people don't understand maybe about this situation, the hallucination in the model?
Right. Yeah. So right, exactly. So that's the thing. It's like, if that's the problem, why over AI can also too like feel overwhelmed, or for people, is because there's so much going on, right? It's so many AI tools that people are like, learn this, learn that, learn this, learn that. And it's like, yes, learn it, but it's growing every single day. It's growing every single day, right? So it's like, instead of like learning a new tool every single day, they need to stick to one tool, learn that tool, learn it inside out, then move on to the next tool. You know what I'm saying? Learn each tool a week at a time, just to get familiarized with learning those tools, and to better prompt yourself at using those tools as well. Because they're, trying to consume everything every day. There's always going to be something new. There's always going to be a new model. There's always going to be a new tool. There's always going to be a new headline. People just end up collecting information instead of developing a capability. So just learn one tool at a time.
Okay. Yeah, great. Well, I think also one of biggest challenge right now is that the people are consuming so much that you mentioned AI content. Yeah, you mentioned about the tools and the prompts, tutorials, workflows, opinion. The many of them end up more overwhelmed that you mentioned that empower. But what partners are you seeing there in that, for example, that opinion about for example, what is the most important desire the people need? For example, maybe have a little experience with, for example, in the part with healthy. For example, in developers, where a lot of information. So, but something people you have learned about more, for example, a specific topic. For example, philosophy. For example, other thinking about the more specific with the mindfulness on sometimes. What do you think is the most important about the people that you mentioned that is not confused about the overwhelm? Because that you mentioned, this information is very common in the social media, and it's very important to understand what is the clarity and what is the important, because with that you can to learn. Not all the information is good that you mentioned. It's very important that you know about what is the you need to consultant, for example, in Docs, Microsoft Docs, for example, in different forums, different, for example, scenarios, or maybe something documents that is very legal. Do you think any process about that, or what do you is your step for that, for to check it?
So basically saying like, how to use AI intentionally, right?
Mhm.
Start with the real problem, right? Instead of a new tool. Start with the problem. Ask yourself, what's taking me too long? What do I repeat every week? What decision is difficult?
Yeah.
Then use AI to solve that one problem well. Solve it well before moving on to the next. AI, becomes much less overwhelming when it's connected to your actual work. You know what I'm saying? Because you're building a roadmap, you're building a system, you're building like, okay, how can I learn this? How can I learn this and make it stick and make it work? So you know what I'm saying? Just find a problem. Find that AI tool that can solve that problem for you, and work it like that. Work it from the inside out.
Mhm. Sounds good. Well, Also, a lot of people that you mentioned want systems, optimization, but not everyone stopped to ask what actually made a system good for a human being. So, from your perspective, what makes a system not only efficient but conscious? What do you think inner clarity influence automation, workflow, and better execution in your experience?
Okay. So an efficient system gets work done, right?
Yeah.
A conscious system gets the right work done for the right reason.
Yeah.
Efficiency without intention can scale the wrong habits, right? A conscious system starts with the purpose. Then AI uses automation to execute that purpose consistently. So, you know what I'm saying? AI reflects the person using it, right? So, if you're unclear, AI simply helps you move faster in the wrong direction. Like I said, all it does is amplify you. So, the clearer you are about your goals, values, and priorities, the more valuable your AI system becomes. So like, you know what I'm saying? So, what does a sustainable productivity look like, right? What does that look like to an average person? It's simply not more by doing every day, right? You don't have to do more every single day. It's designing systems that continue producing results without depending on your constant attention. You know, I don't want entrepreneurs working harder. I want them building systems that create leverage to get them out of their business, to get them saving time, to get them, you know, being able to go work on another part of their business that they need, right? Versus they don't just simply know where to start or how to use AI to help create more time, help create more leverage, help create more revenue and income and things like that.
Okay, awesome. I think it's good that your opinion about that and also your experience. Well, I think I love to add something from my side here because one thing I noticed is that technology can amplify clarity or amplify confusion depending on the internal state of the person using it. If something is internal scared, even powerful tools can make more visible. But if someone is grounded, reflective, and intentional, then those same tools can multiply direction and results. For me, that's where practice, for example, is very important. That I mentioned before, well, maybe for me is important. Mindfulness, reflection, intentional pauses matters. Not have something abstract, but something that actually help us make better decisions and build in a more stable way. So I also think true courage is not physical, is mental and spiritual too, is the ability to face complexity, uncertainty, and ground with calm, humility, and wise action. So I'm curious that lands for you. Do you see a connection between inner standings and external execution in that work?
I'm sorry, say that last part again.
Yeah. See, do you see a connection between inner steadiness and external execution?
Like external execution using like
Yeah, external execution, for example, in your work.
so like work life, like balancing my work and life is what you mean?
No, about, for example, when you work, for example, internal, what do you think in your work for to start? So, for example, maybe in the morning you need to, for example, grateful or something you need to take
Oh, okay.
coffee. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically like my baby, like my work life rhythm, right? Like balance. How do I maintain like balance while building? I don't chase balance every day because entrepreneurship isn't always balanced, right? I'm a single mother of 4 kids, all ages. And then so right there is no balance, right? Because I have to get up every morning, take the kids to school. Then I gotta find, not find time, but then it's like, okay, now I gotta have a block where I gotta, focus on, building, right? And then after that is like another block to where it's like, my kids. So it's like there's no balance. I just focus on rhythm. There are seasons where I build aggressively, and there's our seasons to where I recover. The key is just making sure one season doesn't become your entire life. So I just I build in blocks. I just build in blocks. I set out hours. Like I'd be like, okay, so I'm always work an 8-hour day. So it's like, okay, so let's say I'm done taking the kids to school. So it's 9:00 a.m. So I'm like, okay, so from 9 to 5, that's what I work on my companies. So it's like I set blocks out to where I focus, driven in, and completely working on work. And that's how I, kind of balance it. So there's really no right or wrong answer. There's no balance. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how other people do it, but for me, there's no balance. it's
It's difficult that for you, but it's I think maybe it's the truth. It's difficult for all the people. Maybe sometimes for and some people is single, and it maybe is more easy. But sometimes for the fathers and the mothers, I think this is more difficult. But that's true. And also I think it's the real life, the world, and also that you mentioned about your life, and so something. Do you have any, for example, hobby about, for example, any book that had really shaped the what do you think?
Oh, yes, of course. My favorite book is The Atomic Habits. I love that book because it's what I got out of that book was take away bad habits and trade them from good habits. So it really helped me shape work, right? Like, for example, building my app, right? I had no type of code background, programming background, nothing like that. So I had to begin a habit. I had to create a daily habit of like, okay, every day I'm going to learn code. I'm going to learn Claude. I'm going to talk to Claude of how to build my app. So it's like Atomic Habits, constantly building new habits, good habits, and replacing bad habits. Grant Cardone, the 10 times rule, always go 10 times over everything. I read The Magic of Thinking Big. You always think bigger, than the picture. A lot of books have shaped the way I think today. Oh, and also my favorite book is Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, well, also, what inspired you the most in this season of your life for continue when you work?
I would say watching people like me become builders, like, you know what I mean? Become I'm learning how to become a programmer. I never knew like this would be my life right now. 5 years ago, you needed a large engineering team to create software, right? Today's someone with curiosity and persistence can build products that reach thousands of people. That shift is incredibly exciting. Like, you know what I'm saying? So today time, I mean, if you always want to become an entrepreneur, if you always want to try coding or learn a new skill or whatever, right? And right now is the time to use it because AI is the most helpful right now to actually help you leverage learning anything you want to learn right now.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Well, also, I would like also continue with that about, for example, for me, I I test your application, ShotScript. I think it's good. What
Yes.
do you think about that? What do you motivation about that? What's your idea? That reason that you create that this app, and do you think maybe one idea in your, for example, in your real life, in the maybe taking a shower, I'm going to create that AI, or is more methodic your opinion about create that app? What your inspired you create that?
Okay. So ShopScript, it's an AI powered content creation platform built for entrepreneurs. Instead of spending hours fighting what to post, users can create complete marketing campaigns. including ideas, captions, videos, images. I say images, in minutes. Why I built it? Because I noticed there was a need of consistent marketing, right? Nowadays, you got to post, reach. And it's like, okay, how do I come up with 30 posts for a month? Like, how do I come up with this? How do I know what's engaging with my audience? Let me try this hook to see, to see if they like it. What's that? So that's why I created, to create that gap of marketing. Instead of spending thousands of dollars on photography, on a engineer or a marketing team. So that's why that's why I created it. And the biggest bottleneck that I was trying to solve was execution, right? ShotScript removes the friction between having an idea and publishing professional content. So that's how ShotScript came about, because I was a person like, okay, I gotta go to Haitian just to get the voice to talk, right? Just to get the lip sync. Or I gotta go to Gemini just to create an image. Or I gotta go to Hicksville just to create a motion video. So I wanted to give it a one-stop shop tool to where creators, entrepreneurs, brands, whoever, have a one-stop shop to where they can get their videos, their images, their captions, their hooks, their AI clone, anything for their brand in one spot. Also, it's a community built inside of ShotScript to where it's, let's say, for example, you build an image and you post it on your social media. You can go into the community and say, hey guys, I just posted this image on my Instagram. Can you guys come like and engage it, engage into it? I want to get my views up. So boom, they post the link inside of ShotScript. Users can click on that link and go directly to the user's post that they created on their social media. So I really like that one, because nowadays it takes support, you know what I mean, to help out entrepreneurs to get their business involved. That's one of my favorite features of ShotScript, because support. That's one thing I'm big on, the support. So ShotScript is made to support business owners, entrepreneurs out there to constantly show up online and create content.
Oh, awesome. Sounds good. Sounds very good. Okay. Well, I think also for me, it's good that you offered that you mentioned. So I traced the ShotScript. I think also I had something ideas to continue with that, because for me it is good also. And that you mentioned about what is the goal with that. So well, also I finally. For example, for anyone listening who wants to try it, where do you go and how do you get started with that? If you can to have any advice about your that's
Yes.
hard way, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So download ShopScript is available in the App Store, is available in the Google Play Store. Download ShopScript, create your brand profile, and start generating campaigns immediately. The platform is designed so you can go from an idea to publish without jumping between multiple AI tools.
Okay, good. Finally, let everyone know where they can find you, follow your work, stay connected with everything you're building. You can to remember your social media and your where do you can find you for
So I
your
want to
work.
leave.
Mm-hmm.
So I will leave everybody with we're entering a time where AI will become part of almost every profession. The question isn't whether AI will change the world. It already has, right? AI is here to stay. The real question is whether you'll use it to become more thoughtful, more creative, and more intentional human being, right? My hope is that people don't just learn AI. I hope that they start to think better, build better, and ultimately become better because of it. AI is there to help you, is there to amplify you. And right now is the time to start using it and get familiar with it and learn it. And again, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, Shanese plus AI.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Shanese. I really enjoy this conversation. I'm really glad we go with this pair of this together. For I think one the most valued thing from today's conversation is the reminder that AI becomes far more meaningful with its guideline by clarity, discernment, and conscious direction. For everyone listen, make sure to follow to the that Shanese talk about what is your social media. You can continue follow your work and connect with her work. And thank you as well for being here with us today. I hope this conversation get you a fresh thought, practical perspective on learning, building, and growing with more conscious and direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Si te quedaste hasta el final del episodio, te lo agradezco. También te pido de favor que si te gustó le puedas dar un me gusta y compartirlo con demás personas que también pueda ayudarlos en el ámbito personal, profesional y tecnológico. Con tu apoyo podemos seguir creciendo como comunidad. Esto fue Transformación Integral, el podcast donde la conciencia en acción se vuelve sistema para la evolución integral del ser, donde la decisión consciente, sostenida en el tiempo, se vuelve sabiduría. Nos vemos en el próximo episodio.